Going on, everybody? Cowboy C3. I hate to say that I called it, and I even believe I got the score right, 24-20. Um, it was tough. It's tough to watch victory or a chance of victory slip right between your fingers twice. Let's talk about it next here on Cowboy Spit.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take Cowboy
Throws back of the end zone. There's
What's going on, everybody? Cowboy C3. Cowboys dropped the season opener to Philadelphia in a tough one, 24-20. Um, you know, there were some things that didn't go their way, but there were some things I felt like that went a lot better than I expected, maybe. Um, anyway, they game started off super weird, with the whole spitting thing. Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott. Then he came out later in the game where Dak was the one that actually spit first. He spit down at the ground, and he kind of smiled at Jalen Carter. And then Chris Collinsworth after the game said that he talked to Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott said, he spit at the ground. He looked up and Jalen Carter was staring right at him. He's like, "Did you spit at me?" So he was like, "Why the hell would I spit at you?" You know what I mean? So they went back and forth, and then Jalen Carter spit on him right in front of the referee. Stupid. Would that be a deciding factor in the game? Possibly Jalen Carter is one of the best, if not the best, defensive interior lineman in the NFL. And the way the Cowboys started off running with Javonte Williams, I mean, they looked really good. Cowboys drive the ball down the field, opening drive, score, no problem. Javonte Williams. It looked really good, but then it came to the defense, and the Eagles had no problem doing the same thing. 6 plays, 53 yards on the first touchdown drive. Javonte Williams goes up the middle for 7 yards for a touchdown. Excuse me, for 3 yards for a touchdown. And Cowboys take the lead 7-0. Eagles come back, 10 play, 70-yard drive. Jalen Hurts made 4-yard touchdown run on a scramble on third down to tie the scores. There we go. Are we back yet? To tie the score. And it was game on after that. I was super duper happy with the performance of the Cowboy offense, but the defense, it seemed like the same story. However, as the game progressed, the defense got better, especially the interior of the defense. But I saw a tweet early, like right at halftime, and it said the halftime assessment of the Dallas Cowboys is that they are one elite pass rusher away from being a contender. Kind of ironic. But if you kind of made a choice, do we want to make a defensive interior better, or do we want to have a pass rush better? And as the game progressed, the pass rush did get better. But 7-7, you go second quarter, Cowboys go 9 plays, 88 yards. 1-yard touchdown run by Javonte Williams again, and the offense is clicking, but then the defense, again, same thing, 12 plays, 65 yards for the Eagles, ends in a 8-yard touchdown run by Jalen Hurts where he just shot over to the left corner of the end zone, man, beat everybody to the corner, dives in the end zone. Scores 14-14. Dallas kicks a field goal, goes up 17-14. Philly comes right back down the field again. 10-yard touchdown run by Saquon Barkley. Just a nice run, made a run right up the middle. Cowboys made a great 2-minute drive to end the half, gave Brandon Aubrey a shot to make a 53-yard field goal. Of course, he knocks the ball right down the middle. Scores 21-20 at the half. Third quarter starts. Philly kicks a field goal. and then you have an hour-long weather delay. Say same story with Dak. By standards, he had a good game. When he plays good teams, he's not expecting more than 2 touchdowns. I'm surprised he had no picks against bad teams. Anything can happen. So I find it odd, James, that you would say something like that when if you were watching the game, he put 2 passes on CD Lamb on the money at the end of the game that would clearly gave them an opportunity to go down the field and score, and CD Lamb couldn't come up with them. I find it weird that people always try to find a way to blame Dak Prescott. Dak hadn't played in 305 days. He came out, he had a pretty decent game, you know what I mean? But at the end, he's putting the ball where he's supposed to put it. Your receivers have to make plays. Big time players make big time plays in big time games. And don't get me wrong, CD Lamb is definitely a big time player. He just wasn't big tonight when they really needed him. I'm not mad at the game Dak Prescott had at all. He played well under pressure. Definitely danced around the pocket very well tonight. He looked slow as shit on the run he had where he broke the tackle from when he broke the tackle from I can't remember who the defensive player was. It might have been Jordan Davis. Breaks Jordan Davis's tackle, gets outside. Them legs was kicking all over the place. He looked slow as shit, but I thought it looked well. You know what I mean? He got away from it, 3-yard gain. I'm not mad at the game Dak Prescott had at all. The momentum of the game changed on the Miles Sanders turnover. My man down sports said game played out about how expected. If you and I know you watched the podcast yesterday with me and Britt, I called the game to a T, score and all. Dallas loses 24-20, and they lose. They have a chance at the end of the game, and they just can't get it done. I don't know how. I'm getting pretty good at calling these things. Said didn't know Miles Sanders was slow. I didn't know he was that slow either. He got caught by a linebacker from behind, which was an excellent 50-yard run. I mean, great run, hit the hole, patient, got outside, went down the sideline, got caught at like the 6. They got a stupid, personal foul by George Pickens. Not so sure how you call unnecessary roughness on that, but you know what I'm saying? First game, referees got to get their shit worked out too. You come back and on the very next play, you send Miles Sanders up the middle again and he fumbles. I tell you what, another thing about Dak, if Dak doesn't make that tackle, we're not talking about a 24-20 football game. He saved the touchdown. DB picks up the ball. I heard him say he ran a 4.28 40. He gets going. The game, they stop the Cowboys from a scoring drive, and they end up with a turnover, and then a direct turnover, points off the turnover. Dak Prescott makes the tackle, and it's cool. You know what I mean? Like that's a great play. Dallas defense held up just fine, but just couldn't contain Jalen Hurts. So what's funny about that, man down, is this. I was talking to Larry. He's here in the chat too. I'm talking to him back and forth, texting on the game, and he's like, "Man, why don't they spy? Why won't they spy? Why won't they spy?" They came out in the second half and came into a spy. What baffled me is at the end of the game, when you really need to stop, you go away from the spy, and Jalen Hurts scrambles right up the middle and picks up the first down to ice the game. So James Pierre says something always goes wrong with Dak. All the excuses are good, but at this point in his career, I don't know what kind of excuses you make when the dude drops 2 passes. Receiver just can't make a play. I don't know what kind of excuses that is, but I mean, hey, if you want to blame Dak for the loss, that's cool. I mean, you have your opinion and that's fine, but I'm not going to do it. Yeah, and that's all I really got to say about that. Sequel Sanders got caught from behind, Pickens penalty, then the Sanders fumble. Yeah, man, it's I thought it was a good play. I thought it was. I thought that he read the hole perfectly. When he broke into the open, I was like, Miles Sanders is gone. There's no way he's gonna get caught. And then he got caught, and then a couple of plays later, he fumbled. Just series of unfortunate events. After 2 drops, I would have called Pickens dumb on that 4th down play late. Man down, you got to go to your best player. You got to go to the guy that has been your best player, your best offensive player for the last 2 or 3 years. You got to go to him. And The quarterback gave him every opportunity in the world to make a play. He did. He gave him the crossing route, the deep crossing route. He gave him, excuse me, the deep post route. He gave him that one. Not really sure how you dropped that one. It was a crossing route that was on the drive before that, about 15, 20 yards down the field. It went right between his hands, went up in the air, and Reed Blankenship almost made the interception off of it. And he said the tight end flashed in front of the spy. Larry, the spy would have been standing in the middle looking right at Jalen Hurts. The tight end came across and the spy had to go around, but the spy wasn't there. Sanborn was covering the tight end coming across the field. He wasn't the spy. I just don't understand like the brain farts. But like I said, this is the first time that you've really had your starters on the field. This is why I'm a big fan of running through these situations from the beginning, running through these situations in training camp, and then having your starters. I'm not saying having them play a full quarter or a full half of a preseason game like they used to do back in the day. Give them a series or two. Let them get used to game speed. Let them get used to game contact. Because even in training camp, when you have these scrimmages, you still only going half speed. You know what I mean? You get there, you wrap up. You're not bringing anybody to the ground. Whistle blows, and that's it. James Pierce says, I don't blame Dak. He cannot overcome the challenges in a hard game. I don't know what challenges you want him to overcome. If I put the ball in the receiver's hands, what's he supposed to do, James? He's supposed to catch it, right? It is what it is, man. We couldn't make the play, but I'm not going to say that the challenges, he didn't overcome the challenges, because the ball on two separate occasions was sitting right in the receiver's hands. The last one would have been a difficult catch, but big time players make big time plays in big time games. This is a big time game, division rivalry, open night, ring night. You got a perfect chance to ruin ring night. You got a perfect chance to extend the drive, and couldn't do it. I don't know. I don't know what challenge you want him to overcome. Said Lamb ate all game, but went into bed in the fourth quarter. Yeah, he did. And it's not like CD Lamb won't recover and probably have a monster game against the Giants next week. I don't doubt that he'll do that. He'll this won't do anything but fuel the fire. It was just unfortunate that it happened tonight. Super was. He said we'll come back stronger. Absolutely, we'll come back stronger. I agree. There's no way but to come back. I'm not unhappy with the performance tonight. I thought that the defense looked pretty porous in the first half. They came out. The Dallas Cowboys went in at halftime and actually made some halftime adjustments, and that was a good thing to see. Good thing to see. Did it pay out for him? Did it pan out for him in the end? No, it didn't. Scoreboard says they lost 24-20, but there are a lot of positives that you can take from this game. One, you got a pretty good running back in Javonte Williams. Two, CD Lamb is still CD Lamb. Despite the end of the game, right? But in first 3.5 quarters, he had a really good game. I mean, he had a really good game. And shit, I think he scored me 16 fantasy points. I'll take it, And then defense finally got the Eagles to start punting the football. Only point scored at all in the second half was a field goal by the Eagles. That was it. Got to be able to run the ball. Got to be able to play good defense. They showed that they can run the ball. Showed that they can play pretty good defense when the time is needed. It's just crucial plays that you have to make at the end of football games in order to give you a shot to win. And tonight, the Dallas Cowboys couldn't do it. And that's what it is. Would the score be different if Jalen Carter was in the game? I don't know. We'll never know. So Larry says everything that was set up perfect for the Cowboys to win. No Carter. Dak Prescott was working. Running game showed some flashes. Defense, although not great, wasn't destroyed like last season, and still blew it. Yeah. The only thing you can do at the end of a football game is have the ball in your hands and have an opportunity to win. That is what you dream about in your backyard. You back there throwing passes to nobody. It's 3, 2, 1. You throwing a pass and you win it, right? Just couldn't get it done tonight. But like I said, CD Lamb had 2 crucial drops at the end of the game. It's not like CD Lamb won't bounce back from this and be a better receiver for the rest of the season going forward. The competitive edge in CD Lamb will make that happen. I can guarantee that, barring injury, of course. But I'm not so sure that I don't disagree with man down and I don't just get the ball and I don't try to go to George Pickens. I'm not disagreeing with that statement at all whatsoever. But I also understand that the Cowboys are going to lean on 88 all the time, no matter what. That's what they're gonna do. Say, do you miss Parsons on defense? Yes, tonight. But you want the good defensive tackle play and you want the elite defensive end, and the Cowboys couldn't have both. Say no score in the second half. Have you not seen this kind of movie from Dak before? I've seen this movie for 30 years from the Cowboys. That's what I've seen. Them falling up short for 30 years. Dak Prescott was 2. 1 the last time they didn't fall short. No pass rush from either team, but I think it hurt Dallas more. Agreed. Because strictly because of the mobility of Jalen Hurts. You have to have pressure on Jalen Hurts. You have to be able to get home. Cowboys started getting closer to getting home and got some sacks in the second half when they made some adjustments. I will never understand why. And I'm sitting here screaming at the TV and screaming at the people in my house. I will never understand why, when you have a mobile quarterback, that your defensive end, under any circumstance whatsoever, will slam inside and just give him free reign to the outside. It makes no sense to me, especially with no spy. If you do that with the spy and he takes off run to the side, then you give the spy a chance to corner him, along just kind of push him along the sideline. And then if he comes forward, you can make a tackle, right? If you're not running a spy, I will never understand, never, why defensive end would crash inside to try to get to the quarterback, knowing full well that his mobility is going to take him outside. I won't. I just can't understand it. Cowboys did it twice tonight on 2 separate plays. Now there was one where Jalen Hurts had a big run, like I think it was on like a 3rd and 8. He ran around the left side. Donovan Ezaraku made a move on Jordan Mailata and kind of got around him, and Jordan Mailata held him. I was surprised they didn't call a holding penalty on that, but they came back and called like another phantom penalty. I guess it was trying to make up for it. It just wasn't a big, it wasn't a good one. Pickens is a hands catcher. Lamb tried to catch 2 of the 3 drops with his body. I disagree with that because the first drop, when he went across the middle, went right through his hands and hit him right in the face and bounced straight up in the air. On the dive, on the play where he dove, he had to catch the ball with his hands. It hit his hands and he missed it. And on the post play, he stuck his hands out. And I think that he's seeing the safety come across because it's the whole alligator arm thing, pulling your arms in and short. The ball hit him in his hands all 3 times. And those are plays under normal circumstances. CD Lamb makes the play. Now, what George Pickens is excellent at, and they mentioned it tonight in the game. George Pickens is excellent at catching the ball in his hands and extending his arms and keeping the defender away from punching the ball out. He's excellent at that. Plus, he's a little bit taller than CeeDee Lamb, and I think you can just throw the ball. George Pickens is a 50-50 nightmare. Like, you can throw the ball up to Pickens and make plays. Now, the last time Dak Prescott had a receiver like that, he wouldn't really get him the ball, and that was with Dez Bryant. 50-50 guy. But I believe George Pickens, and I could be wrong, but I believe George Pickens may be a little bit faster. Dak will learn, hopefully, that you can put the ball up to pick. You can put it up in the air, and he'll go get it. There's a play of pass interference on Adoree Jackson down the right sideline early in the game. Might have been in the second quarter, but Dak put the ball down the field to pick. He almost made the one-handed catch. That's the type of dynamic that he gives you. What you have to, what you have to, what George has to get away from is the stupid penalties, like the penalty with Cooper DeJean down close to the goal line, where the Cowboys had, they fumbled on the next play. Excuse me. They ended up having to kick a field goal on that drive. That could have cost them three. That could have cost them 4 points. And that 4 points, we're talking about 24-24 ball game. There's plays throughout the game that makes a difference. It's just that the turnover by Miles Sanders in the third quarter ended up being the real momentum swing that kind of changed the trajectory of the game. Say regret Blue not suiting up. Yes, Sanders had a big run, but a costly fumble and not much in the passing game. Fumbles run momentum for the offense, but the Cowboys would have attacked Philly linebackers with the tight end. Now, Ferguson had a drop or two tonight too. I really do regret Jaden Blue not playing. I want to do the Cowboys regret Jaden Blue not playing. Jaden Blue gives you a different dynamic in a game, in a football game. On that play that Miles Sanders has, if you replace Miles Sanders with Jaden Blue, that's goodbye. It is over with. That's a touchdown, and we're not even having this conversation. We might be talking about a Cowboy win. I understand putting the veteran running back in. I understand uh, a proven veteran running back, but if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, starting week 2 moving forward, Jaden Blue is my backup running back. You see what kind of back Javonte Williams is. It's 4 or 5 yards in a cloud of dust. And that is perfect. If you giving me 4 yards a carry, you're giving me a first down every 3 carries. And that is perfect for NFL football. Jaden Blue gives you the lightning in the bottle effect, and he also gives you excellent hands out of the backfield that can get downfield. The last time the Cowboys had this was with Tony Pollard, and they let it go. Maybe it's something to the effect of he needs to work on his pass blocking. Maybe that ankle wasn't ready tonight, and they felt like it may be rain, and they didn't want him to aggravate an injury on the soaked field. And that rain ended up holding up until the weather delay. Not real sure why he wouldn't play. Another person that was inactive tonight was Mozzie Smith. This was not a Mozzie Smith game at all. This was not a Mozzie Smith game. Uh, you know, your defensive tackle play tonight was pretty decent. It's a lot better than we've seen in a long time. It wasn't Saquon Barkley that killed the Dallas Cowboys tonight. It was letting Jalen Hurts run around in the first half, and and towards the end of the game that was the demise of the Cowboys tonight. But they adjusted to it, and for for a quarter and a half in the second half, they actually played it pretty well. They started getting pressure on it. I'm interested to see what kind of adjustments that they make and go and play in a against a Giants team next week that is improved. And we'll see how well they play. Preseason, they look improved. They looked improved. But it'll be ones on ones on Sunday, and you'll really get to see what the Giants, what kind of the improvements that they made, will they pan out in the actual regular season game. Um, I hope the Cowboys are hungry. I hope they see that they can compete for this division. They really can. I believe that they can. And I believe if Jalen Carter was in the game, it would have made a little bit of difference. But I believe the outcome of the game would have been about the same. Maybe not scoring on second down. Probably have to score on third down on the Javonte Williams runs if Jalen Carter's in the game. But, you know, you got to keep your spit to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to do that. Well, it's late. It's 12-17. Cowboys lose 24-20. Larry said he thought the play calling was good on offense. I didn't think the play calling on offense was bad at all. Just got in situations where I paid a lot of attention tonight to Tyler Booker, of course. He played, pretty solid. Also paid attention to the left tackle spot, Tyler Guyton. Footwork looked a lot better, but there was a couple times he got beat. But he got beat when the defensive end kind of made a move to the inside. I said this last year and you can tell that he's worked really, really hard at perfecting his game. When you have a 6'8" guy that's got really long arms, it's easy to get called for holding just because his arms are so long. He can just stick an arm out and you defensive end or whoever it is over him gets hooked by him and they'll call a holding penalty. You can tell he worked really, really hard on keeping his hands inside. And sometimes the feet wouldn't get over to the hands. And that's okay. That's okay. I believe that Tyler Guyton will improve as the season progresses. Terrence Steele made some excellent blocks on some run plays, but he missed some blocks on some pass plays as well. Dak kind of saw those coming and was able to avoid pressure a couple times. I thought Cooper Beebe played, pretty decent as well. I think the Cowboy offensive line, it's a young offensive line. I think it'll gel, it'll get better. Hell, even Tyler Smith had a holding penalty tonight. He got beat on the play. You don't really see that much. But that's that rust. This is the 4th preseason game. Next week starts the real preseason, starts the regular season for the Cowboys for real. You started off 0-1. You 0-1 in the division against the defending Super Bowl champs. But it wasn't a bad showing. This game last year would have been 34-6, right? And the team is improved. I like what I saw. The depth especially on the defensive line, didn't look bad. Linebacker depth, Damone Clark kind of got beat on a couple plays. They put Maris Lufau in the second half. I believe that made a big difference as well. Maris Lufau is everywhere. I thought Donovan Wilson played well. I thought the corners played exceptionally well, except for the deep ball to Jahan Dotson. Kyer Elam got caught slipping looking in the backfield and got beat. They kind of shored that up. They kept everything in front of him. Diggs didn't play terrible. You know what I mean? He didn't really get a lot of passes thrown his way, but he didn't play bad. Bland made some good plays. Donovan Wilson came up, made a lot of solid tackles on the tight end, and he also made some solid tackles on Saquon Barkley. There's some definite improvement on both sides of the ball. The important thing for the season is just to keep that momentum going. Larry said, first time in a long time, not a lot of penalties on Dallas. I think they had 9 penalties for 60 yards, I believe. I looked at that earlier. Let me give you the exact number right now. Cowboys only had 4 penalties for 42 yards. Eagles had 9 penalties for 110. Much improved. So once the score was 14-14 in the second quarter and Dak saw his defense couldn't do nothing with Jalen Hurts, they knew they already had to keep scoring, but instead 2 field goals after that, and he lost by 4. I guess we just gonna blame Dak Prescott for this loss. Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna blame Dak. Philadelphia defense shored their shortcomings up. Cowboys were reliant on the run game tonight, and that's okay. You had opportunities where you could have scored points in the second half, but you had a big time turnover. And if you score a touchdown on that one, we're not talking about losing by 4 points. So there's a whole lot of points that you can point out, man, in a football game. I'm not just going to keep going back to Dak. I'm not going to do it. 4 for 42, Dallas 9 for 115. Yep. 9 for 110. Yep. That's it. So this one's over with, man. 24-20, on to the Giants. We'll break down the Giants Monday. We'll wait till after they play. We'll break it down, see what they look like. I'm interested to see how Russell Wilson looks. Jackson Dart looked phenomenal in the preseason, but hell, Jameis Winston looked good too. They got a pretty good quarterback situation going on in old New York. Cam Scatterboo looks like he'll run the ball some. And of course you got Malik Neighbors, and they play good defense. You know what I mean? The Giants play pretty solid defense. They're improved, but I think the Cowboys can handle the Giants. I'm not really overly concerned with the Giants, but I just like the progression that I feel like that the Cowboys made against the team last year that blew them out twice. You're talking about your 2 passes away from having the opportunity to go down the field and win this football game. You are. And that's okay. You know, you're working the kinks out tonight. Kinks should be worked out. You go in, lick your wounds. You got what, 10 days before the next game? Got plenty of room to rest, mini bye week before your next game against the Giants. You got plenty of time to prepare for it. And I think they'll be okay. I really do. All right, y'all. I know it's late. I appreciate y'all tuning in with me, man. Thank you. If you haven't done it already, please like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody staying up with me, late after this Cowboy disappointment, But I called it. Called the score. Called called the score and called how they would lose the game. Hey, they'll bounce back. I wish I was wrong about this one, but unfortunately I wasn't. But anyway, all right. Cowboy C3. I will see you guys very soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great night. Peace.